Hello again, Kendopolis. This is Dr. Kendo, and I'm here with another Scribblenauts Unlimited Object Editor commentary. This is where I basically just create your favorite characters based on whatever you guys vote as the most popular, most requested item by the most amount of different viewers. I make it here in the Object Editor, which is one feature of the Scribblenauts Unlimited game that we're playing, and that is only a feature that's actually available for just the Wii U and PC versions of this game. We started off with an android as the source object for today's creation, which is Mega Lucario. I know a lot of people wanted to see a Mega Pokemon of some sort, and there was a lot of requests actually for Lucario or Mega Lucario specifically, so why not, right? You probably can see that we took off a lot of pieces of the android, you know, the head and the legs, and then we've kept on the arms, and the torso is mostly untouched, just painted up a little bit. Silver Sword is what we first typed in as our first stamp of the day to put down here kind of on the lower half of the torso, but it is going to kind of look like it's connecting to the upper half as well, with this cuttlefish antenna arm piece being the spike in the middle of the chest in essence, and dragon fruit is what we've typed in here to be the, I guess, fur that is on the shoulders, and in essence, the design is like this because Mega Lucario more so has it coming from the chest and going out to either side, but with the shoulders right here, we can really put it in a good, I guess, perspective on Scribblenauts Unlimited, and we can have the front shoulder facing us, actually facing over the head. In essence, it will go over the head in order of layers, which is good. We want that. An Iguanodon, the shin piece, so the back upper leg piece of that is what we used for the thighs of Mega Lucario, you know, starting off those legs. And then a Sphinx, if you take the creature Sphinx, since Sphinx does yield 3 different results, you want the creature one, take the back leg and the one that's in back behind, and grab that for the bottom of the legs of Mega Lucario here. And a mola body is what we used for the main kind of big spike here on the legs. And then we're going to type in hairy fish. Funny name, I know. But just grab the fin of the hairy fish and use that as the other spike on the legs. But then we're also going to transfer that to be the spikes that are also on the arms, you know, the forearms and the wrist and all that right here. And so mostly that's looking good. So I think what we'll do actually to add a little bit to the arms, since the android just kind of has little nubs instead of actual fingers or hands like a lot of Scribblenauts characters do. Knuckleavi is what we typed in, and we can grab the arm, I guess the forearm to wrist piece of the Knuckleavi because that has the hand on it, but just put it, you know, it looks pretty odd by itself, so put it of course behind the android arms that we started with here for Mega Lucario and paint them that same kind of off crimson red color, and that should be good for kind of showing the fingers for Mega Lucario there. A phantom, taking the body of the phantom, and that torso shape for it will be the tail, so make sure to put that on the torso of your Mega Lucario and then move it to the back. And a shambler, the back arm at the top, that's what we used actually for a black kind of pattern running up and down Lucario's legs and going down to the bottom part of his legs too. And a jellyfish, the upper tentacle piece close to the jellyfish's body on the left side, we actually took that to basically just be a black line, and hopefully you notice after I did it 4 times, that is the end of the stamp space. This game does have a limit to how many stamps you can put down, i.e. how many pieces of your object you can put to make your object overall. So now we'll go ahead and edit the properties here and the scripting and all of that. So whenever I'm at this point of the videos, I do like to read background information and fun facts about the characters we create. So let's do it. Mega Lucario is believed to be the first discovered Mega Evolution. When Lucario becomes Mega Lucario, its cream fur gets a bit longer and it develops more spikes on the back of its paws, which have turned crimson. Its aura-sensing appendages grow longer, and 2 of them are also tipped in that crimson color. Its shoulders also each have a spike, and being that its aura heightens throughout its body, black markings are formed on its blue fur. We've seen many Lucario depictions on the Pokémon anime, but we've also of course seen Lucario as a playable character in Super Smash Bros. Brawl and Wii U 3DS, you know, that version. Of course, in the Wii U and 3DS versions of the game, Lucario can Mega Evolve for its final smash, so that's good, you know, to specifically talk about Mega Lucario right here. But I think kind of when I stopped being able to really watch Pokemon and devote a lot of time to the cartoon, they showed off Lucario and premiered that character soon after I had stopped, unfortunately. And I do like to sometimes try to go back and revisit Pokemon and kind of, I guess, continue where I left off, but it's hard to find exactly which episodes I've seen and haven't seen yet. yet, and I just don't have a lot of time. So we've now started off with the head as the source object and painted that this bluish color for his fur, but then also type in a dolphin, and if you can see where the little star is for where my stylus is pointing, you basically want to just point underneath the fin that you can see. Don't touch the fin, but go underneath the dolphin's body, almost like you're basically just not touching any part of the dolphin, but you're touching right underneath, and so that'll make you grab that fin that's in the back. We can't even see it really, but it'll take it once you put your stylus or your mouse there. And so then I put down a diaper for the bottom part of the mouth. We're actually going to have that just so that it can extend beyond the boundaries of the head that we put down, because then we've used the tail piece of a baboon, but not the end tail piece, the one that's closer to the body of the baboon. It has a little point on it, and so we can make that the end of the nose, and it all sort of looks good for that black part of the kind of nose and the snout and all of that. And so then, of course, I hope you guys saw we typed in a barracuda and took the back tail fins of that, the barracuda right there, and so that's going to be right next to the baboon tail with a twiddle behind that. So twiddle is sort of a wavy line right there and a good pattern for the fur. And then the back tail piece of a cobra, the very last tail piece, is what we're going to use for the white of the eye right here for Lucario. And then I'm going to go ahead and use an eyebrow, and that'll be for a black kind of crest piece that goes with the black markings on his fur all the way across the forehead and down to the snout, down the middle of the face. And so then another cobra piece, of course, copy that one that you had, and we'll type in mud skipper next and just grab that fin that's kind of here in the front and in the middle, and that can be for the eye color right here, the iris, and so we'll paint that orange-ish, and it all looks good, so copy it to the other side, of course. And then a pimple is what we can use as the pupil if you want to. You can also probably use a P, which is PEA, of course, and the pimple just shrinks down really small, so I like that shape, just to give him tiny pupils right here, and put that on both sides after you paint it black. Then in the 29-page library, there's the 22nd page of it. It's basically just a collection of shapes that extends for 29 pages. That's why we call it that. And there is on the 22nd page, there's an arm that we use just above the eye that is to our right. It would be Mega Lucario's left eye, of course. And then we've used a chimera fish and took the back tail piece of that, so the furthest back fin, and that'll be for these little spots in his ears right there, kind of at the base of the ears actually. And then that same 22nd page arm shape from the 29-page library, that's something that we can use for the mouth. I just did it twice though, so it took two of them, I guess, to make the line of his mouth kind of in a frowny face, I guess, almost neutral frown, we'll say. Cloud is what I used actually for the appendages that are on the back. It looks like big long flowy hair basically, but those appendages right there for the aura sensing. And radiation can be the crimson dip at the end of one of those appendages, and since it would probably get a little bit confusing and just kind of mess with the design a lot, I'm not going to include the appendages on the other side. This will be like a side view of Mega Lucario, almost side view, but you can go ahead and include more clouds back there if you want to have all four of them. And then in the properties editor, whenever you're creating a head and a body separately, you want to go down to the equipment tab and just check off that little circle that says can be worn on the face like glasses. Fill that in right there, third circle down at the bottom there. And the reason you ever would create a head and a body separate is just because since the game does have a stamp limit, with this kind of scripting combo, it'll actually put the head in the correct spot on the body mostly, but you do sometimes need to edit the body object and turn on these green grids that basically can show all the moving joints and pieces of your body, and you would just click that head grid and adjust the head where it needs to go. You know, if you give that head piece to the body object and it doesn't look like it's in the right spot, but it is kind of up there at least where the head should be, just move it down, forward, back, whatever motion you need to do. And so of course you saw Mega Lucario fighting my previous Glaceon creation. That was from almost 2 years ago, I believe. And then Poplio, a somewhat more recent creation, of course, because that's more of a recent announcement. But Mega Lucario is going to town right here, and Poplio's actually holding its own. And I think one of the things that is, I guess, indicative of that is in Scribblenauts Unlimited, since we're just fighting on a 2D plane, you know, the projectiles basically hit each other. They just hit themselves. And so it's often hard for two characters with projectiles to hit each other accurately and successfully. And so you can see, of course, with Charizard, that was a very old creation, but it's got the fire-breathing capabilities, and the Charizard did just lose, of course, to Mega Lucario, but it was putting up a crazy fight with all of that fire-breathing. But yes, I hope hope that you guys enjoyed this creation. Kind of quick, but there was an influx of, just videos and stuff this week, especially with the announcement of the Nintendo Switch console. I made a video or two about that. Hopefully you guys have seen that here on the channel. But I did just want to say, of course, most weeks it is just whatever is most popular or most requested. As I mentioned at the very beginning of this commentary, just by the most amount of different viewers, that's what will get created. Next week, we're going to bypass that actually for a special episode that I'm sure that you guys would hopefully not object to, but kind of in the similar vein, I guess, of Five Nights at Kendo's, we took another game that's pretty big. I'm sure you guys already know what it is because I've hinted at it in the comments before in the past, but we fused Dr. Kendo, and that would be me, of course, but Dr. Kendo and this big game, and we're putting those creations together to make a special episode next week. So requests will kind of just be tallied up over the next 2 weeks because we'll, of course, resume most popular, most requested after that special episode comes up next Sunday. I love all of you, and I will catch you on the next vid, and thanks for viewing.
And sit down the road of twist.